What's up, guys? Gonna give you a little music lesson here, guitar lesson. This is for guitar players who have been working through triads, and you might be wondering, how to incorporate this stuff in your playing. You've been putting the grunt work in, you've been learning these shapes, and so it's kind of time to start incorporating these things into your playing. So I've got an exercise here that's going to do just that. It's going to take these triad shapes and we're going to use them to embellish on these chords, produce some nice cool lead lines, and just keep your playing sounding more interesting when we're just dealing with some of these basic chords. So the form's going to be G for 2 measures, C for 2 measures, D for 1, C for 1, and then G for 2. Alright, so, and technically you can do any progression you'd like, and I encourage you to explore just stick with major triads for now. They don't even have to be in the same key if you like the way they sound. And just make sure you stay true to the form. So I'm going to try to stay true to this form, which is just G for 2 measures, again C for 2, then D, C, and G. So what we're going to do is we're just going to focus on the D, G, and B strings, and we're going to only be playing the triads on these strings. So the first way to get going here, I'll get a metronome going. And I'm going to be playing just down on this end of the guitar. Actually, pause that for a second. So I'm going to use these voicings for the G, these 3 open strings, and then which is second inversion and then root inversion. C, I'm going to use first inversion, second inversion. D, I'll be using first inversion and second inversion as well. So we're actually that's as far out on the neck as we're going to get, is that 7th fret. So the first exercise is we're just going to play half notes, and we're just going to switch voices every 2 beats. So it'll be sounding like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And top. Now, don't skip this. You want to do all of this stuff. You want to really make it simple. Put in the time. I know you've been kind of dealing with a little bit of a lot of mental work, and you're probably ready to play a little more. But this is going to really help you tie these things together. So do that, do some reps of that, maybe 5 or 6 times, go through the form. If that's too fast, slow the metronome down. Find the right tempo. Now the next is going to be try to just make it a little more musical. So play these voicings, but you don't have to move every 2 beats now. There's no stipulations here, except for just play the right chord during the form. But just use those voicings. We're just going to stick with this end of the guitar. So it'd be sounding like something like this. Okay, so what am I doing? The only thing I'm doing is I'm playing these voicings whenever I feel like it within these measures, and I'm doing some finger picking here. Okay, so now if you prefer playing with a pick, no problem. Back and forth with the pick. I was changing the form there a little bit on accident, but you get the idea. So this exercise, super helpful. And I encourage you to stay in this part of the guitar for a while, because you can eventually start adding you can always add these chords. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So once you've done that for a while, incorporate the big chords, and so that you can kind of move back and forth between them. Yeah, so after you've done that for a while, I would just encourage you then next to move to the next two voices. So after open, for the G, it's going to be open, or the open strings, which is second inversion, root. Now we're going to go root first. Just stick between these two. And then C is going to be second and root. Same with D. Then it's C. And then G. Just kind of messing up the form a little bit there. And that's going to happen from time to time. And that's why I typically like to write the form out, because especially if you're doing something new, you're going to fall into some old habits without having that reinforcement there. So don't be afraid to write out the form. So then the exercise is the same here. First, start with this, just 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now C, 3, 4, 1, 2. 4, D, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G. And then if you want to make it more musical, just play however you feel. But I only use those two voicings, and then down here I only use those two voicings. And so what you're doing is you're training yourself to go from each one, these two, if I'm just going to do G as an example, and then these two, and then the next one, of course, would just be these two. So this one would sound like this. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And make it musical. So yeah, these are just this is just an exercise that I just really enjoy because it's not really, I mean, it is an exercise. It's kind of combining an exercise with playing. I mean, there's some cool stuff I was doing there, and it was very musical and just sounds like a song. So if you can incorporate that into your triad exercises, it's going to kind of give you probably a little more excitement. And it'll be a little more fun for you. So I hope this helps, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. All right, peace out.